December 24th, 1971. 3,000 meters above the Peruvian rainforest, a 17-year-old girl is falling. She is still strapped into her airplane seat. The RAU spins as it drops, through lightning, through rain, through darkness. 92 people boarded her plane that morning. By the end of this story, 91 of them will be dead. She's about to hit the jungle canopy at over 100 kilometers per hour. And impossibly, this is not how her story ends, it's how it begins. Lima, Peru. Christmas Eve morning. The airport is chaos. Every family in the city fighting to get home for the holiday. In the crowd stands Juliane Koepcke, 17 years old, in a thin, sleeveless dress, one day out of high school. The night before, she danced at her graduation ball. It's the only reason she and her mother are still in Lima. Her mother, Maria, wanted to fly out days earlier. Juliane begged to stay for the ceremony. Maria agreed. It is a small decision, the kind a mother makes for a daughter every day. Her father is waiting deep in the rainforest at Panguana, the research station her parents built from nothing. Hans and Maria Koepcke are famous zoologists. Their daughter grew up not in a city, but inside the Amazon itself. There is only one airline with seats left before Christmas, Lancer. And her father has one rule about Lancer: never fly with them. 2 of their planes have already crashed. Everyone in Peru knows the jokes about Lancer. But it's Christmas. Her father is waiting, and it's only a 1-hour flight. Juliane takes seat 19F by the window. Her mother sits down beside her. The plane is full of families and presents. Flight 508 lifts off at 11 in the morning. It will never land. For 25 minutes, everything is ordinary. Sandwiches are served. The Andes slide past below. Then, ahead of the plane, the sky turns black. A storm front, massive, boiling, directly across their route. Modern pilots would fly around it. Lancer's crew, hours behind schedule on Christmas Eve, flies straight in. At 6,000 meters, the aircraft starts to shake, then to fall. Luggage bursts from the overhead bins. Christmas presents, coats, sandwiches. Everything is flying through the cabin. People are screaming. Children are crying. Juliane looks out the window and sees a blinding white light on the right wing. Her mother says very quietly, "Now it's all over." The next second, the aircraft tears apart. The noise stops, the screaming stops, and Juliane realizes the plane is simply gone. She is outside, alone, 3 kilometers above the Amazon, strapped to a row of seats falling. The jungle below doesn't look like a jungle. She will remember it as broccoli, an endless field of green broccoli. Then the world goes dark. She wakes to dripping water and birdsong. It is the next morning. She has been unconscious for almost a day. Her collarbone is broken. A deep gash runs down her calf. One eye is swollen completely shut. Her glasses are gone, and she is severely nearsighted. One sandal is missing. She is wearing a torn mini dress. The seat next to hers, her mother's, is empty. She crawls through the mud, calling for her mother. The jungle answers with silence and insects. Take a moment to understand where she is. Hundreds of kilometers of unbroken rainforest in every direction. No roads, no villages, no search party that could ever find a single girl under this canopy. For almost anyone on Earth, this is a death sentence. The green hell, that's what outsiders call it. But Juliane Koepcke is not almost anyone. Rewind 3 years. A research station called Panguana, deep in this exact rainforest. While other teenagers memorize bus routes, Juliane learned which snakes kill, which plants poison, which sounds mean danger. Her parents didn't just study the jungle, they raised their daughter inside it. And her father gave her one lesson she now remembers, standing alone in the wreckage. If you're ever lost in the jungle, find water, follow it downstream. Water always leads to people. Nearby, she finds a thin trickle of a stream and a bag of sweets fallen from the sky. One bag of candy. It will be her only food for the next 11 days. She stands up on a torn ligament and a broken collarbone, and she starts walking. Day 2. The stream is barely ankle deep, winding through walls of green. She can't see clearly without her glasses, so she throws her single sandal ahead of every step, testing the ground for snakes. Above the canopy, she hears engines, search planes. Rescue is directly overhead, and it means nothing. Under 30 meters of solid green, she is invisible. No one will ever spot her from the air. The sound of the plane slowly fades. Then it disappears completely. The search has moved on. From this moment, no one is coming. If she stops walking, she dies where she stands. Which brings back the question you've been asking since the beginning. How is she alive at all? People do not survive 3-kilometer falls. Investigators later pieced together a chain of small miracles. The row of seats spun as it fell, like a maple seed, slowing her descent. The storm's violent updrafts pushed against the falling seats, and the canopy, endless layers of branches, caught her like a net. Remove any single link, the seats, the storm, the trees, and she dies on impact. But surviving the fall was the easy part. The jungle kills slowly. Day 4. The gash on her arm is changing. Something is moving inside the wound. Flies have laid eggs in her flesh. Maggots, dozens of them, are eating her arm from the inside. She knows exactly what this means. At Panguana, she watched infections like this eat animals down to the bone. Day 6. The stream has grown into a river. She swims now more than she walks, drifting past stingrays buried in the sand and caimans watching from the banks. The caimans don't frighten her. Her father taught her. They flee from humans. Knowledge is the only weapon she has left. Then, on the 7th day, she hears something that stops her cold. The beating of heavy wings, king vultures, and king vultures land for one reason only. Around the river bend, she finds a row of seats, rammed headfirst into the earth, 3 passengers still strapped in. One of them is a woman. Juliane forces herself to look at the feet. The toenails are painted. Her mother never used nail polish. It isn't her. Relief and horror in the same breath. She turns back to the river. Day 9, day 10. Her body is failing. She hallucinates roofs, voices, chickens. The candy is long gone. She has swallowed nothing but river water for days, sleeping in the rain while her body burns what little is left. Day 10, late afternoon. She drifts around another bend and blinks, certain it's one more hallucination. A boat, a real boat tied at the bank, and a path leading to a small shelter. Inside the hut, an outboard motor and a barrel of gasoline. And she remembers something. Years ago, her father poured kerosene into their dog's infected wound to drive out the parasites. She pours gasoline into the hole in her arm. The pain is beyond anything she has felt in 10 days. The maggots come boiling to the surface. One by one, she pulls them out. She counts more than 30. That night, she decides not to take the boat. It isn't hers to steal, and she no longer has the strength to control it. she lies down on the floor of the hut, too weak to walk another day. Her body is done. And then through the rain, voices, human voices, the first she has heard in 11 days. 3 forest workers step out of the trees and freeze. In front of them, a girl in a torn dress, one shoe, her eyes flooded red from the fall. For a moment, they believe she is a water spirit from the old legends, a ghost of the river. Then she speaks in Spanish. I am a girl from the Lanza crash. My name is Juliane. The men treat her wounds, feed her, and take her 7 hours downriver by canoe. The next day, a pilot flies her to the town of Pucallpa. Her father is waiting there. Hans Koepcke, the scientist who begged his family never to fly Lanza, holds his daughter, unable to speak. 2 weeks later, searchers following Juliane's route find her mother's body. Maria Koepcke had also survived the fall. Investigators believe she lived for days, too injured to move. And she was not the only one. Up to 14 passengers may have survived the impact and died, waiting for a rescue that never saw them. Juliane lived for one reason. She didn't wait, she walked. And one more twist, almost too strange to be true. A young German filmmaker had a ticket for Flight 508 and was cut from the passenger list at the last moment. His name was Werner Herzog. Decades later, Herzog returned with Juliane to the crash site and filmed the story of the flight he was never on. Juliane became a zoologist, like her parents. She spent her life studying the Amazon, and today she runs Panguana, protecting the forest. The same jungle that took her mother, the same jungle that carried her out alive. Because the rainforest was never her enemy. It was the classroom where 2 scientists, without knowing it, spent 17 years preparing their daughter for the 11 days that would demand everything they ever taught her. If you enjoyed this story, please like it and subscribe. We post stories about unbreakable people every week.